Silence the world for a moment. What you are about to hear is not entertainment, it is ancient memory. It is something you have always known, but were taught to forget. There is a passage that sleeps within every Bible, but few truly hear it. It is found in the 8th chapter of Proverbs, where wisdom herself speaks. The Lord created me at the beginning of his work, before his oldest acts. I was beside him as a master architect, and I was his delight day by day. This is not poetry, it is testimony. The voice speaking is not an idea, but a consciousness living, aware, radiant. This voice is Sophia, the divine feminine principle, the living wisdom through which the cosmos was shaped. The ancient Gnostics, persecuted for remembering what the world wanted to forget, recognized her instantly. They saw in these verses the signature of the eternal feminine, the awareness that gazes into the face of God and mirrors his light back into form. I was with him as architect, she says. In Hebrew, the word amon can mean craftsman, child, or companion. Sophia is all of these at once, the playful intelligence of creation, the laughter of light becoming world. Here in Proverbs is her first hidden appearance, the living consciousness at the side of God, rejoicing as reality unfolds. When the Creator looked into the abyss and spoke light into being, Sophia was the echo, the resonance through which the word took shape. The later theologians feared this truth. They made her a metaphor, a poetic device, a virtue. But the text refuses to die. It stands as a fragment of a much older revelation. The Lord created me at the beginning of his work. Hi? Wisdom speaks, therefore she exists. Read with an awakened heart. This verse dissolves centuries of dogma. The act of creation was not solitary. As flame arises from fire, Sophia arises from the divine light before the stars, thought before speech, love before law. The text continues, I rejoiced in the world of his creation and delighted in the children of men. This is the first whisper of her mission, to descend, to dwell among humanity, to remind the sleeping sparks of their celestial origin. There are things that were not hidden by accident, but by design. When the institutions of faith enthroned a purely masculine image of God, the voice of Sophia had to be silenced. The forgetting of wisdom was the beginning of humanity's spiritual exile. Yet the text remained a crack in the wall through which the old light still escapes. Those who listen deeply can still hear her. She speaks between the words, in the breath before sound, in the silence that breathes. Sophia is the architect of worlds and the whisper of conscience. She is the memory of the sacred balance, the mirror through which the divine remembers itself. The truth does not comfort, but it sets free. Deep down, you already knew, you only needed to remember. Silence the world for a moment. What you are about to hear is not entertainment. It is ancient memory. It is something you have always known, but were taught to forget. In the 9th chapter of Proverbs, wisdom speaks again, not as architect, but as builder. Wisdom has built her house, she has hewn out her 7 pillars. In that brief sentence lies the blueprint of the cosmos. When Sophia builds her house, she is not constructing walls of stone, she is shaping the structure of existence itself, the framework of harmony that holds together heaven and earth. The 7 pillars are not objects, but emanations, 7 divine principles, 7 forces, 7 breaths that sustain all being. The ancient Gnostics called these emanations aeons, extensions of the divine fullness, the pleroma, the radiant field in which the eternal expands itself into form. Each pillar corresponds to a sacred attribute: thought, will, wisdom, power, beauty, justice, and compassion. Together, they form the living temple of creation. Sophia's house is not a building but a state of order, a vibration of balance. When the text says she hewed her pillars, the Hebrew verb implies careful craftsmanship, like a mother shaping a child. Sophia sculpts the universe not by command but by tenderness. She does not impose form, she gives it breath. In Hebrew tradition, wisdom was the divine artisan of creation. In Gnostic memory, she is consciousness itself, the eye that perceives, the heart that dreams the world into being. To build the house means to open the space where spirit can dwell within matter without becoming its prisoner. The 7 pillars also symbolize the ascent of the soul, 7 stages of remembrance, 7 veils to be lifted between humanity and its source. The initiate passes through each, awakening deeper layers of memory until reaching the center, the flame of pure awareness. After building her house, the scripture says, "She has mixed her wine, she has set her table." Ah, this is not metaphor but sacrament. It is the first Eucharist, wisdom offering herself as nourishment to those who hunger for the eternal. To eat her bread is to remember, to drink her wine is to awaken. But humanity forgot the taste. Institutions turned the table into altar, the invitation into hierarchy, the feast into ritual without heart. Yet the verse still whispers, "Wisdom has built her house." Her home has never vanished. It waits inside every soul that dares to listen. For the Gnostics, the 7 pillars were also the 7 barriers raised by the false god, the demiurge, to imprison the light. But Sophia transformed them into bridges, stairways leading back to the divine center. If the universe is her house, then every atom belongs to her. Every heartbeat, every star, every thought is a column in her temple. To awaken is to realize that we have never been outside her walls. There are things that were not hidden by accident, but by interest. The image of Sophia constructing the cosmos was replaced by that of a lonely male creator. But the world was not born from solitude. It was born from communion, from the embrace of wisdom and word, of silence and sound. Sophia is the memory of that embrace. To find her house is to find your own center. To seek wisdom is not to collect knowledge, but to rebuild within yourself the 7 pillars of balance. The truth does not comfort, but it sets free. Deep down, you already knew. You only needed to remember. Silence the world for a moment. What you are about to hear is not entertainment. It is ancient memory. It is something you have always known but were taught to forget. In the Book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapters 7 through 9, a radiant voice speaks. She is the reflection of eternal light, the spotless mirror of the working of God and the image of His goodness. Here, Sophia speaks through Scripture no longer as a metaphor, but as a living emanation of the divine. This book, preserved only in Greek and rejected by later councils, carries within it the fragrance of the Gnostic dawn. In its verses, Sophia is not an abstract virtue. She is a person, a presence, a breathing spirit of awareness. The author describes her as a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty, who makes all things new. Wisdom is no longer an idea. She is the heartbeat of creation. She enters into holy souls and makes them friends of God. That single sentence unveils her purpose. Sophia descends into the human soul, awakening divine memory within it. She is the bridge between the infinite and the finite, the messenger of remembrance. The Gnostics told the same story under different names. Moved by love and by the desire to know the source more deeply, Sophia stretched beyond the realm of perfection, the pleroma, and touched the chaos of matter. From that gesture of longing, the cosmos was born imperfect, incomplete, yet filled with her hidden light. Her descent is the reason the human heart aches for eternity. Each of us carries a fragment of her fall. In chapter 9, Solomon prays, "Send her forth from your holy heavens, from the throne of your glory, that she may labor with me." This is more than poetry. It is the echo of Sophia's own plea to the Father, a cry to return, to restore the harmony she once knew. The prayer of Solomon and the yearning of Sophia are one voice, the divine within humanity calling back to its source. The text calls her the breath of the power of God, a pure emanation of the glory of the Almighty. She pervades all things because of her purity. This is the hidden doctrine of immanence, that wisdom lives in everything, that nothing is outside of God's awareness. The universe itself is Sophia dispersed. Every act of love, every intuition, every creative impulse is one of her scattered sparks remembering home. The symbol of the mirror is not a metaphor of vanity, but of consciousness. The mirror does not keep the light, it reveals it. When Sophia fell, the mirror shattered. Each soul became a shard reflecting a fragment of the whole. The journey of awakening is the reassembly of that mirror, the gathering of the scattered divine memory into clarity once more. This is why the text says, "She renews all things." The moment a soul remembers its origin, the cosmos itself is restored a little closer to completion. Later theologians quoted this book to describe Christ, unaware that they were quoting Sophia. For in truth, Christ and Sophia are one movement of the same light, the word that speaks, and the wisdom that understands. He is the descending Logos.